the subject. The first point is the Maxwell's equation. We have to learn the differential and integral form and their interpretation, boundary conditions, wave equations, Pointing vector. Next point is that plane waves and properties, reflection, refraction, polarization, phase and group velocity, propagation of wave through the different medium, what is the skin depth. Then third point is transmission line. Under this transmission line, we have to learn the characteristic impedance, impedance matching, impedance transformation, S parameters, what is Smith chart, and then also rectangular and circular waveguides. And then also we have to study the dipole and monopole antennas, linear array antennas. Okay. Maximum 12 marks questions will be there in your GATE exam, and minimum 8 marks. Okay, 8 to 12 marks. This is the range of this particular subject. Okay, today we will discuss the Maxwell's equation in differential and integral form. Now we'll see that the equations, Maxwell's equations in differential and integral form. Now first equation, Maxwell equation in differential form is divergence of D is equal to rho. Now here D is nothing but the electric flux density, rho is the volume charge density, and del is the differential operator. Okay. Now when we are taking the divergence of electric flux density, it is same as that of the volume charge density. The meaning of this or the significance of this Maxwell equation is that the first of all we have to understand the significance of the divergence, and the divergence means the net outward flow of electric flux through a closed surface per unit volume, as volume tends to that of the zero. And the if the divergence of that electric flux density is more or more, means that the volume charge density is also more. Okay, means it is same. That is, if the flux lines which are coming from a single point, and that single point is closed by that of the surface, and if the number of electric flux lines are going outside that of the closed surface, means that the volume charge density is also more. Okay, now this equation is obtained by that of the Gauss law. Now you know that according to that of the Gauss law, the total electric flux through a closed surface is equal to that of the total charge enclosed by that surface. Okay, and therefore if the flux density or net outward flux is more, means that more charges are present inside that closed surface. Okay, now this is the meaning of this one of the Maxwell equation. Now this Maxwell equation we can also use for that of the static field and also for time varying field. In that of the time varying field, the D electric flux density D is varying with respect to that of the time, and the volume charge density is also volume charge density, the it is not vector. Okay, it is volume charge density, scalar quantity. D is the vector. Okay, it is time varying, and this is the meaning of this Maxwell equation. Okay, now which is obtained from that of the Gauss law. Now Second Maxwell equation, that is divergence of B is equal to 0. Now this equation is also obtained from the Gauss law of magnetostatics. Now the meaning of this equation is that if you take the divergence of magnetic flux density, then it is equal to that of the 0, because the magnetic flux lines are in always in the closed circuit, or always in the form of the closed lines. Okay, and they are not terminated at a particular points, and therefore if you find out the divergence of B of divergence of B at a specific point, then it is equal to that of the 0. Okay, that is the meaning of this Maxwell equation, that is divergence of B is equal to that of the 0. We can also convert this Maxwell's equation in point form into that of the integral form by using that of the divergence theorem, and that another theorem is the Stokes theorem. By using this theorem, it is possible to convert the integral form into the point form, and point form into that of the integral form. Okay, now here means that you should know what is means by the divergence. Actually, if you understand the concept of the divergence, then you will understand these two Maxwell's equation, because these two Maxwell's equations are related to that of the divergence operations. Okay, and therefore we know that actually there are the positive divergence and negative divergence. The positive divergence means that the flux is going outside from a single point. At that time, we are saying that that is the positive divergence, and negative divergence means the flux is coming or sinking at a specific point. Then we are saying that that flux is, or that divergence is the negative divergence. Okay, and zero divergence means at a specific point there is no sinking and emission of the flux. At that time we can say that the divergence at the particular point is zero. Okay, now this is the second Maxwell equation, and this divergence of B is equal to 0, and this will be because of the properties of that magnetic flux lines. Okay, entering and going to that of the closed surface, and therefore net closed surface integral B dot ds will be 0 for that of the magnetic flux density. Okay, now here B is equal to also mu into H. Actually both B is nothing but the magnetic flux density, and H is nothing but the magnetic field intensity. Now your magnetic flux density is directly proportional to that of the magnetic field intensity. Okay, and means that if H is increases, your magnetic flux density is also increases. Okay, now it is also depends upon that of the permeability of the medium. If the permeability of the medium is maximum, then your magnetic flux density is also increases, or it is more. Okay, and that is depends upon that of the permeability, and permeability is the one of the property of the magnetic material to magnetize these materials so that the more magnetic flux will be generated. Means that more magnetic flux generated means what? More magnetic flux density is also increases, and therefore that is B is directly proportional to that of the H. Okay, now these are the two equations we have seen that. Then next equation which we have obtained is the curl of E is equal to minus dou V by dou T. Now here del is nothing but actually the differential operator. Now here this cross indicate that is the curl. Okay, whenever this cross symbol is used at that time, we are saying that the operation is curl operation. E is nothing but the electric field intensity which is varying with respect to that of the time. Okay, and it is equated to that of the partial derivative, or you can say that dou b minus dou b by dou t. Now this equation is obtained by using that of the by using Faraday's law. Now you know that according to that of the Faraday's law, that is the EMF induced in the closed loop circuit is equal to that of the minus dou phi by dou t. Okay, and this minus sign is because of the Lenz's law. Okay, and dou phi by dou t is nothing but rate of change of the magnetic flux linked to that of the closed circuit. Means that the EMF is equal to that of the rate of change of the magnetic flux linked to that of the closed circuit. Okay, then applying that left side of this equation, we know that EMF is equal to that of the voltage and equal to that of the closed line integral uh, E dot dl. Okay, and then applying the curls Stokes theorem, we can obtain this equation, that is the curl of E is equal to minus dou b by dou t. Now curl operation, you know that that is the when you take the curl of electric field intensity uh, per unit area, that you know that what is the curl actually. The curl is nothing but that there is some operations we have to do, that is the curl operation. Means that this is a rotating field. Okay, that is the rotating vector you will get when you take the curl of any specific vector. Then you will get the rotating vector, and the direction of that rotating vector is perpendicular to that of the orientation. Okay, orientation of that area. Okay, now and it is equated to that of the rate of change of the magnetic flux density, okay, with respect to that of the time. Means that when you know that when you know the electric time varying electric field intensity, from that one also you can find out the magnetic field intensity. Also possible to find out the magnetic flux density, or it is also possible to find out the magnetic field intensity, because b is equal to mu into h. Okay, therefore you can also write that actually here, that is the curl of E is equal to minus mu into dou h by dou t. In this way you can also write that. Okay, now here then after there is the another Maxwell equation is the curl of h is equal to j plus dou d by dou t. Now left side of this equation is the curl of the magnetic field intensity. Okay, when you take the curl of the magnetic field intensity, it is same as that of the conduction current density, and plus the displacement current density. Okay, for that of the static field, the Maxwell equation is only curl of h is equal to j. But for that of the time varying field, that is equation for time varying field is curl of h is equal to j plus dou d by dou t. Now here this dou d by dou t is called as the displacement current density. Okay, now this displacement current is d is nothing but actually here epsilon into E. Okay, therefore you can also write that epsilon into dou E by dou t. Okay, dou E by dou t. In this way you can also write that. Now therefore that is J is the conduction current density, and this conduction current density is how we can find out, that is sigma into E. Okay, this by using this equation it is possible to find out also the conduction current density, that is J is equal to sigma into E. Therefore that equation also you can modify. Okay, you can also modify that. The how we can modify, you can see here, that is you can also you can replace this j by sigma into E, and this also you can replace by that of epsilon into dou E by dou t. Like this also it is possible to modify the equation. Okay, and now that is curl of h is equal to j. Now when you take now you know that actually to understand these both of the equation, you should understand the meaning of that curl operation. Now, the first of all, we will see that actually what is that curl operation. That is, we will understand. If you understand the curl operation, then you will understand this equation actually, and then you can. That is the physical meaning of that particular Maxwell equation, or the significance of that significance of the Maxwell equation. Okay. Now we'll see that actually that to understand more that these two equations, we will see that what is that curl operation. Okay. Now we will see the curl operation, and from that one you can understand the curl of E is equal to minus dou B by dou T, and curl of H is equal to, now here we can see that the curl operation. Now we will define the first of all the curl means what, and then you will understand it more. Okay. Now here we will see that you see that now here this is the curl. Curl of any vector is equal to that of the closed line integral of that vector per unit area, as area tends to that of the 0, and this vector which we have obtained by taking the curl is the rotating vector. It will rotate actually, and its direction is perpendicular to that of the area. Now this area is, and limit of that area ds is tends to that of the 0. Okay. Now means that when you take the curl of that of the electric field intensity, that is the curl E, it is same as that of the negative rate of change of the magnetic flux density with respect to that of the time. Okay. You can also that is the curl of A is an axial or rotational vector whose magnitude is maximum circulation of vector A per unit area tends to that of the 0, and whose direction is normal of the area when the area is oriented so as to make the circulation maximum. Okay. Now this is the meaning, and therefore that is the second equation. The first that is curl of E is equal to minus 2 by dou T, which we have obtained from that of the Faraday's law. Okay. Now then another equation, that is the curl of H is equal to J. Now J plus dou D by dou T. Now when you take the curl of magnetic field intensity, that is the line integral over a closed loop, as over a closed loop, as the area tends to that of the 0, that is equated or is same as the sum of, is the sum of conduction current density and displacement current density. Now, for that of time varying field, one more term is added. That term is called as the displacement current density. Now, this displacement current density is added by that of the Maxwell, and this is called as the modified Ampere circuital law for that of the time varying field. Okay. J is nothing but the conduction current density. Now according to that of the Ampere circuital law, you know that that is the closed line integral of H dot dl is equal to that of the total or net current enclosed by that loop. Okay. Now this is the meaning of that Ampere circuital law. Now and we have obtained from this Ampere circuital law, that is the curl of H is equal to J. Now but this equation is not true for that of the time varying field, and therefore we have obtained another equation, that is the curl of H is equal to J plus dou D by dou T, which is the true or valid, and the term dou D by dou T represent actually the displacement current density. Now, to understand this displacement current density, we have to take the example of that capacitor. Actually, there in that of the across that of the capacitor, there is the electric flux inside that dielectrics, and because of this some displacement current is also there, and because of this displacement current there is some displacement current density. Okay, and that displacement current density is given by this equation dou d by dou t. Okay, and we know that what is that displacement, how it will be occurred whenever we are applying electric flux across that of the dielectric material. There is some displacement current, okay, exist, and because of this displacement current, there is some displacement current density, and which is only true for the time varying field. Okay, not for that of the static field. Okay, now then these are the differential forms. All these are the differential forms or point. It is also called as the point forms of the Maxwell equation. Okay, and then integral form in that of this integral form for the divergence of d is equal to rho v. The integral form is closed surface integral d dot ds is equal to volume integral rho v, volume integral of rho v. Now, what is the meaning of this one? That is the total electric flux or total flux through that of the closed surface is equal to that of the volume volume integration of volume charge density. Okay, and that is nothing but the total charge enclosed by that surface, by that closed surface. This is also the meaning of the this particular integral form Maxwell equation, and d is also varying with respect to that of the time. And then there is another form, that is divergence of this point form, and integral form is closed surface integral b dot ds is equal to that of the 0, and non-existence of isolated magnetic charges. Now you know that because of the closed loop, that is the closed surface integral of b dot ds will be that of the 0, or net field. Okay, net field inside that closed surface is equal to that of the 0. Why? Because actually there is the entering flux, also the outgoing flux, and therefore that is the net sum is equal to that of the 0 when you take the that is the closed surface integral of that close of magnetic flux. Okay, and then another integral form is that now this curve of is minus dou by this is the point form, and integral form is actually closed line integral E dot dl is equal to minus dou by dou t of the surface integral B dot ds. Okay, now here, now when you take the closed line integral of closed loop, okay, whenever you consider any specific loop, and if you take the closed line integral along that loop, it is same as that of the uh, differentiation of the total flux passing through that of the surface. Okay, differentiation, you see that here you can also take inside of this integration, that is you can also write another way, that is minus dou b by dou t. Okay, minus dou b by dou t, that integration of minus dou b by dou t also you can write into ds. Okay, just you have to take the integration of the differentiation. Okay, differentiation of with respect to that of the t, and here it is the surface integration, then you will get the actually the total, you will get the E dot dl is nothing but you know that it is the EMF induced, okay, or the voltage. Okay, therefore this is obtained. Now left side is equation, because this is obtained because of the Faraday's law, and therefore left side is the EMF, actually the EMF induced into that circuit, and this principle is used in that of the transformer, and therefore this EMF is also called as the transformer EMF. Okay, because in that of the secondary, if you are giving the suppose 10 volt or 15 volt, suppose you are giving 15 volt to that of the primary, and number of turns are same of primary and secondary, the same voltage will be generated, induced in that of the secondary coil. Okay, and this is because of the Faraday's law. And you can also obtain that EMF induced by using this equation, that is closed line integral E dot dl is equal to minus dou d dou by dou t b dot ds. Okay, now actually the problem may be asked, that is d will be given and you have to find out e, like this problem or numerical may be asked. Okay, and you have, that is the objective type questions, and you have to identify the correct answer. Just suppose the options are given to you. Okay, b will be given and you have to find out e also. Now then afterwards there is the another integral form, is the closed line integral h dot dl is equal to surface integral of j plus dou d by dou t. Okay, now here j is nothing but the conduction current density, and means you are taking the sum of these two densities, and then you are adding first of all, and then we have to take the surface integral of this surface integral of this surface integral of these both densities. Okay, and it is equated to that of the closed line integral of h dot dl. Now suppose that if you consider any specific uh, conductor, and through that of the conductor a current is flowing. Okay, through that conductor current is flowing, and if you take the one closed loop around that conductor, and if you take the line integration, closed line integration along that loop, okay, then this is nothing but the total current flowing through that surface. Okay, now actually here you can see that j plus jd is nothing but the displacement current density. We are taking the sum of these two densities, and therefore j dot ds or current density, if you are taking the surface integration of current density, then it is nothing but total current flowing flowing through that surface. That is the meaning. Means if you want to find out the total current flowing through that surface, just you have to take the line integration, closed line integration of the magnetic field intensity over that closed loop, around that closed loop, so that you will get total current flowing through that of the current, through that conductor. Okay, if you know the current densities, conduction current densities and displacement current densities both are known, then just you have to means that indirectly you will know the conduction current density or total current density of the current which is flowing through that conductor, if you know only that magnetic field intensity. Okay, now in this way you can find out the conduction current densities if you know the magnetic field intensity, or the equation for that of the magnetic field intensity, total current flowing through that of the conductor also we can find out. Okay, now this is the physical significance or the Maxwell equations, or the interpretation of this Maxwell's equations in time varying, and in that of the time varying field, for that of the time varying field. Okay, now for that of the static field, now these two equations, that is divergence of d is equal to rho and divergence of b is equal to 0, these two equations are same for that of the static field. Okay, now another equation also for that of the static field is that curl of E is equal to that of the 0. When you take the curl of, this is also one of the Maxwell equation for that of the static field, that is the curl of E is equal to 0, means that the static electric field is conservative. Okay, or it is stable. If you it is not curly, or it is not, if you take that the curl of that particular electric field intensity, it is means that actually when you are taking the curl of that particular vector, and when it is 0, that is, you can, we can understand that that field is not rotating. Okay, because the field or that electric field is not rotating. If the curl operation is zero of any particular vector, means that that field is not rotating around a particular point. This is the meaning of that one. Okay, means that your electric field is not rotating, it is conservative, it is stable. Okay, now therefore the curl of E is equal to 0. Now this is the one of the Maxwell equation which is used for that of the static field. Okay, static field, only that only that equation we can use for a static field. But for dynamic field, curl of E is equal to minus dou V by dou T. Okay, now this is the difference. And then for that of the static field, curl of H is equal to only J for that of the static field. But for that of the time varying field, that is curl of H is equal to J plus dou D by dou T. Okay, now these are the Maxwell's equations and its interpretation. Now we see that what is the boundary conditions. Now actually this is also one of the point we have to discuss today, the boundary conditions. Now the boundary conditions means the equations which are satisfied by that of the electric field and magnetic field at the interface of the two medium is called as the boundary conditions. The boundary conditions are only nothing but the equations which will give the relation between that of the electric field in that of electric field in the medium 1 and medium 2, or the relation between that of the magnetic field in that of the medium 1 and medium 2. Okay, that relation or is mentioned or is given by that of the boundary conditions or equations of the boundary conditions. And therefore we have to see that the boundary conditions. So first of all we'll see the equations for that of electric boundary conditions. Okay, and then afterwards we will see the equations for the magnetic boundary conditions. Okay, now we will see that the equations for that of the magnetic boundary conditions, the electric boundary conditions, and then afterwards we will see that for that of the magnetic boundary conditions. Okay, now here electric for that of the electric boundary conditions, we know that actually what we are doing whenever there is any electric field, that electric field we have to split into two components. That is, the first component is the component which is tangential to the top the interface of the boundary, and another component of that electric field is the component which is normal to that of the interface of the boundary. Okay, now we'll see that the equations for that one. And therefore resultant electric field is formed by that of the normal component and tangential component of electric field. Okay, now we have to obtain, actually in boundary conditions what we are doing, actually we are obtaining the equations for the normal component and the tangential component of the electric field. And then we can obtain the relation between that of the normal component of electric field in that of the medium 1 and normal component in that of the electric field in that of the medium 2. Okay, also that is the relation between that of the tangential component in that of the medium 1 and also tangential component in the medium 2. Now we'll see that the derivations, we'll see the equations. Okay, because these equations are useful to solve the problems which are related to that of the magnetic boundary condition. Suppose that if you know the electric field in the medium 1 and you have to find out the electric field in that of the second medium. Okay, suppose that this medium is free space. Okay, just you consider that the medium is free space or the dielectric, and there is also the concrete wall. Okay, wall which is made by that of the RCC or concrete. In that concrete or in wall, what is the electric field we can find out by using that of the boundary conditions. Okay, that is the electric field E2 in that of the in the medium 2, just the wall which is made by that of the specific material, or the is having some permeability also, permittivity. Okay, and if you know the permittivity of that particular medium, then it is possible to find out electric uh, the electric field intensity in that of the second medium. Okay, therefore we will see that the equation for that one. Now here actually we have to see the equations. Okay, because the problem is asked on the top this boundary condition. Okay, and now we will see that this is the one of the dielectric boundary conditions. Okay, dielectric boundary conditions means that two mediums are, we have considered two mediums are, that is the medium 1 is also dielectric medium and medium 2 is also dielectric medium, and these two mediums are meeting at the any specific plane. Okay, that plane may be x plane, y plane, or maybe z plane. Okay, z plane means that is the plane which is parallel to that of the xy plane. That is xy plane is, we are also saying that z is equal to 1 plane, z is equal to 2 plane, z is equal to 0 plane, means that that plane is parallel to that of the xy. Okay, now we see that the first of all, now just you can see here, that is first of all this is your electric field E1, and we have to split this electric field into two components. This is the tangential component E1T, and this is the normal component. Normal component means normal to the interface of the boundary. Now here interface of the boundary is this one. Okay, and this is the normal component which is perpendicular to this interface of the boundary, and therefore this is normal and this is the tangential. Okay, now electric field E1 is known in that of the medium 1, and you have to find out the electric field E2 in that of the second medium. Okay, to find out the electric field E2 in that of the second medium, you should know actually the tangential component, that is the component which is tangential to the interface of the boundary, and the component which is normal to that of the boundary. And if you add these two components, that is, then you will get the resultant E2 vector. Okay, therefore we have to find out these two components first of all, to find out the electric field E2 in that of the second medium. Okay, now therefore we'll see that the equations. Now actually we have derived these equations by using that of the laws, that is the laws which we have studied up to this. Okay, now, and we have derived the equation for that of the tangential component and the normal component. We will have to see only that equations, because the problem or numericals will be asked. Okay, or we have to identify sometimes the magnetic boundary conditions. Okay, now this is the first equation of electric boundary condition, that is E1 of t is equal to E2 t. Now the what is the significance, or what is the physical significance, or the significance of this particular equation? The significance of this particular equation is that the tangential component of electric field E1, or tangential means tangential to the interface of the medium E1T, is equal to that of the tangential component of electric field E2. Okay, E2T. Okay, E2T is nothing but actually tangential to that of the interface. Means that the your tangential component is continuous. Okay, from one medium to that of the another medium, there is no change. Okay, its magnitude is also, magnitude will remain the same in the medium 1 and medium 2. That is when according to this boundary condition. Okay, now that is E1 of t is equal to E2t, means there is continuity of tangential component, no change in the tangential component. Okay, and therefore we can say that it is the same. Okay, now this is the one of the equation. Then another equation is actually we have obtained the electric field intensity, tangential component of electric field intensity, E1 and E1 T and E2 T. Okay, but what about that of the electric flux density? Okay, electric flux density is directly proportional to that of the electric field intensity. Okay, now therefore D is equal to epsilon into E. We know that actually D is equal to epsilon into E. Now, therefore, that is D is equal to epsilon into E. Okay. Now, therefore, we can E is equal to E1 of T. Therefore, D1 of T divided by epsilon 1 is equal to D2T divided by epsilon 2. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of this one? This is another boundary condition equation of the electric boundary condition. That is D1 of T divided by epsilon 1 is equal to D2 of T divided by epsilon 2. Okay, now if you want to find out the electric flux density, tangential component of electric flux density in the second medium D2T, then what you have to do, just you have to multiply by that of the epsilon 2 by epsilon 1 to D1T to get the D2T. Okay, now the value or the magnitude of the tangential component of electric flux density, it will be not same. Okay, it is depends upon the ratio of the permittivity of the medium 1, medium 2 to that of the medium 1. Okay, and therefore that component is discontinuous, or its value will not be the same, it is different. Okay, and you can find out the tangential component of electric flux density d2t is equal to epsilon 2 divided by epsilon 1 into d1t. Okay, if you know that d1t, you can find out d2t. Okay, sometimes that is the objective type questions may be there. Okay, to find out the electric flux density, okay, in that of the medium 2, then we have to use this equation, okay, to find out the d2t. Now, once you have identified the tangential component for that of the electric field intensity and electric flux density, then another component we have to identify or we have to find out is the normal component. Okay, because actually uh, to get the resultant electric field and electric flux density, you should know both the components, and therefore tangential component we have identified. Now the normal component we have to identify. Okay, now the boundary condition for that of the normal component is d1n minus d2n is equal to rho s. Now d1n is the normal component of the electric flux density in the medium 1. D2n is the normal component, means normal to the interface, normal, normal component of electric flux density in medium 2 is equal to that of the rho s. Now this is the one of the that is third equation of electric boundary condition. Now here rho s is nothing but the surface charge density. Now here which surface? The surface which is the between that of the medium 1 and medium 2. Okay, that is nothing but the interfacing surface. If interfacing surface is having any specific surface charge density, then rho s is having is not equal to that of the 0. Okay, if there is no surface charges or the charges are not there, then rho s will be 0. Okay, then rho s will be 0. Okay, now therefore your d2n is depends upon that of actually your rho s value. Rho s is if rho s is there, surface charge is there, or something surface charge density is there, then d2n is equal to that of the d1n minus rho s. Okay, in this way you can obtain the normal component for electric flux density in the second medium. Okay, and d2t is already we have determined, we have obtained d2n also. Therefore sum of these two components is nothing but your d2t. Okay, electric flux density in that of the second medium we can obtain also. Okay, like this. Okay, suppose that means that d1n and d2n is depends upon that of the rho s. If the rho s is having something value, okay, means the difference between that of the d1n and d2n is of only of the rho s. Okay, that is the if you find out the normal component d1n, and if you find out d2n, and if you take the difference between them, then the difference only rho s. Okay, means that one of the component is greater than that of the rho s value. Now here, therefore, if rho s is equal to 0, okay, then the equation will become that d1n is equal to d2n. Okay, d1n is equal to d2n you will get, means that your normal component is also the same when rho s is equal to 0. Okay, means that is actually the normal component is also the continuous component, that is, and once you have obtained d1 d2t and d2n, you can obtain the, you have to add these two components and then you will get d2. Okay, now but actually you have to obtain another equation, that is e1n and e2n. You have to obtain e2n, that is electric field intensity. Then how you can obtain it? Just you know that relation between that of the d and e, epsilon 1 into e1n is equal to epsilon 2 into e2n. And if you want to obtain e2n, you have to take the ratio of epsilon 1 divided by epsilon 2, and you multiply by that of the e1n. E1n is already known to us because it is given in that of the problem. Okay, suppose that the problem is given to you. E1n we have to identify first of all, and epsilon 1 and epsilon 2, that is the permittivity, is also we are given, and then from that one you can find out the E2n. Okay, in this way you can find out the normal component for that of the electric field intensity in that of the medium 2. Okay, once you know that the tangential component and normal component of electric field intensity in the medium 1, just you have to add these two components, normal component and tangential component, you will get the E2. Okay, in this way you can use this electric boundary conditions to find out E2 and D2, or electric field and electric flux density in the another medium. Okay, because if you know the electric field or electric flux density in this particular medium, and you have to find out in the another medium, you can use these electric boundary conditions. Okay, now this is the electric boundary condition. Now another boundary condition is that the magnetic boundary condition. Now we have to see that the magnetic boundary conditions also. Okay, now we'll see that the magnetic boundary condition again, that is nothing but the tangential and normal component at the interface of the two mediums. Okay, suppose that the magnetic field intensity is known in this medium and you have to use. Now this electric boundary condition and magnetic boundary conditions both are these equations is useful to both type of the field, that is the static field and dynamic field. Okay, therefore that of the dynamic field, here is no different boundary conditions. For both type of the fields we are using the same boundary conditions. Okay, and therefore we will see that the magnetic boundary conditions, what are that magnetic boundary conditions and what are the equations for that one, and what is the relation between the normal component of magnetic field in the medium 1 and medium 2. We have to discuss that one also here. uh, okay, that is, we will see that the magnetic boundary conditions. Okay, now we will see the equation for that one. Okay, because there are objective type questions are there, and therefore we should know there is no derivation, and therefore we should know only what the equations of that boundary conditions, and therefore we will see that the equations for that of the magnetic boundary conditions. Okay, now here we will see that the tangential component and also normal component for each one, and what is the relation between them, we have to see. Okay, now here we can see that magnetic boundary conditions. Now we'll see the equations, okay, and we will understand the meaning and of this particular equations. First of all, we will see the equation for that of the normal component. Okay, you can see here the equation. Now, now this is the first equation for that of the magnetic boundary condition, that is related to that of the normal component. Now B1n is equal to B2n. Okay. Now what is the meaning of this one? The meaning of this one is the normal component of magnetic flux density in the medium 1 and normal component of magnetic flux density in the medium 2 is same, or you can say that it is continuous, okay, or its value or its magnitude is same. Okay, now this is the meaning of this first equation, uh, and therefore you can also obtain the another equation which is related to that of the normal component of the magnetic field intensity. How we can obtain that is, you know that B1n is nothing but mu1 into h1n, and B2n is equal to mu2 into s2n, and we have to equate these two equations. Okay, and h1n divided by h2n is equal to mu2 divided by mu1. Now if you want to obtain h2n, how you can obtain it? Just mu1 divided by mu2 into h1n. Okay, now therefore magnetic field intensity component is discontinuous, its value is not same, but there is some value, but it is not zero, there is some value, and it depends upon the permeability of that medium. Okay, now then this is the second equation which is related to that of the normal component. Okay, now what about that of the tangential component? Okay, now we have to see the equation for that of the tangential component. Okay, now see the here the equation for that of the tangential component, that is the h1 of t minus s2 of t. Just you can see here h1 of t minus s2 of t is equal to k. Now this is the third equation of the magnetic boundary condition. Now here h1 of t is the tangential component of the magnetic field intensity in the medium 1. H2t is the magnetic field intensity, a tangential component of magnetic field intensity in of medium 2. Okay, and is equal to that of the k. Now here k is the surface current density which is measured in ampere per meter. Okay, now in the vector form actually we have to write this equation, that is the you can write in vector form here h2t minus, now you can here you can write that h2t minus h1t is equal to k cross an12. Now here an12 is the vector which is normal, and it will starts from that of the medium 1 and ends at a medium 2. That is therefore it is 1 to 2, that is an12, it is normal unit vector. Okay, normal unit vector may be that of, actually we have to identify. Okay, sometimes actually we may be on that along that of z-axis, maybe that of along the x-axis, depending upon that of the problem we have to identify this an12. Okay, now here k is nothing but actually here the current density. Okay, now therefore h1t minus h2t is equal to a12 cross k. Okay, now when you want to take h12 minus h2t, then a12 cross k, and even you want to take h2t minus h1t, then k cross an12. Okay, now if the sequence is changed of cross product, the sign also changes. Okay, and therefore, and if k is equal to 0, then what happens? Your h1t is equal to h2t. Okay, and when k is equal to 0. Now this is the equation for that of the tangential component. Now, if you want to obtain the equation for that of the magnetic flux density, how you can obtain? Just you can see that uh, B is equal to mu into H, H1t is equal to B1t divided by mu 1, H2t is equal to B2t divided by mu 2, and therefore the ratio of these two are B1t divided by mu 1 is minus B2t divided by mu 2 is equal to K. Now this is the equation for that of the magnetic tangential component of magnetic flux density. Now if you know this K, P1, T, then and also mu1 and mu2, you can obtain b2t. Okay, from this equation it is possible to obtain the b2t, and once you obtain these two components, then you have to add these two components to get the resultant magnetic flux density in the second medium. Okay, now in this way we can solve the problem related to that of the boundary conditions. Okay, because this is one of the important point. Now suppose that if k is equal to 0, then what happens actually, that is your h1t is equal to h2t, and your b1t divided by mu1 is equal to b2t divided by mu2. If k is given, suppose that k is equal, there is no current at the interface of the two medium, or current density is not there. Okay, at that time the equation will become v1t divided by, for that of the tangential component, v1t divided by mu1 is equal to b2t divided by mu2, mu2, like this equation you will get for that of the tangential component. Okay, now these are the boundary magnetic boundary conditions we have to use to solve the problem related to that of the boundary conditions. Okay, now we have today what we have discussed the Maxwell equation and its meaning, then also for that of the static field as well as that of the time varying field, and also we have discussed about the boundary conditions. Okay, for that of the electric boundary conditions, we have seen the equations for electric boundary conditions, and the equations for that of the magnetic boundary conditions we have seen, and how to use it. Okay, to find out the electric field intensity and magnetic field intensity in that of the second medium, if we know the electric field intensity in the known medium. Okay, and you have to find out the field intensity another medium, then you can use all these magnet boundary conditions. Okay, therefore first we will also revise this one, that is magnet all these equations, that is Maxwell equation, that is the in differential form. First of all, that is divergence of d is equal to rho v, then another equation divergence of b is equal to 0, then third equation in point form, that is curl of E is equal to minus dou v by dou t, and fourth equation is that the curl of H is equal to j plus dou d by dou t. These are the equations in that of the your point form, and that of integral form the equations are closed surface integral d dot ds is equal to volume integral of rho v, then there is the closed surface integral b dot ds is equal to 0, then integral form equation for that of the time varying field is that closed line integral E dot dl is equal to the surface integral of minus dou b by dou t. Okay, and then fourth equation is that the closed line integral form, that is closed line integral h dot dl is equal to the surface integral open surface integral of j plus dou d by dou t. Okay, you have that bracket, you have to j plus jd is nothing but the displacement current density, j is nothing but the conduction current density, and you have to take the surface integration of that one to find out the actually closed line integral h dot dl. Okay, uh, and these are the point form and integral form, and then electric boundary conditions is the your E1 tangential component is same, that is the E1t is equal to E2t, and the normal component, okay, normal component d1n minus d2n is equal to rho s. And magnetic boundary conditions, that is the normal component b1n is equal to b2n, and tangential component h1t minus h2t is equal to k cross a12. Okay, these are the boundary conditions we have seen today. Okay, tomorrow also 5 to 6 the class will be conducted. Okay, tomorrow also you join this class, and we will cover the next point, that is the wave equation and Poynting vector, and also another uh, point also we will cover on, that is reflection and refraction also we will see that. Therefore today we will stop here, and tomorrow we will meet at 5 to 6. Okay.